We are officially live. What's going on, everybody? How we doing on this Sunday evening, May 31st? Tonight, we're going to be doing a watch along for a show that I really enjoyed, and a show that I did a lot of coverage on in the last 8 weeks or so with Defending Jacob. Very excited to be here with you all tonight. So yeah, we're going to get this thing started here in a little bit, guys. I'm gonna get the timer up here. We're going to start it at 5:10. But in the meantime, I'll let you guys get in the chat, get settled, get your beverages, your drinks, your chips, anything and everything that you guys need to do to get ready for this watch along. So hold on, let me get this going. Oh, there we go. All right. So yeah, before we get this started, guys, let me know your overall thoughts of the finale that we got this past. I saw it on Thursday, and a lot of you all probably saw it on Friday. I might have, like me, couldn't wait to see the finale, so stayed up till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night watching the finale. So let me know kind of your overall thoughts, guys, and where you're at with the finale. But obviously, we're going to do a breakdown, talk about the pros and cons of the episode and the season, and also more importantly, did Jacob do it? Did Pats do it? Did someone else do it? We're going to break it all down. I'm excited to do so with you all tonight. So again, we're going to get this started in about 10 minutes. And like I said, in the meantime, if you guys want to get your drinks and beverages and snacks for this watch along, and we'll get this started in like I said, about 10 minutes. So let me just pull up a little clock here, put that on the side. There we go. All righty. So wait till we get some people in the chat here. We got James Tucker, Adrian. What's going on, everybody? You said we'll get this bad boy started. Maybe we don't have to wait 10 minutes, but we'll start it around 5:05. So in about 3 minutes, we'll get this started in 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up I got my Apple TV all ready and queued up to go. And like I said, we'll get to start in a little bit, guys. But yeah, in the meantime, let me know. James already in the chat saying, I still think Jacob's innocent. And we'll talk about that as the episode goes by. But I would love to know, the purpose of this watch along is to hear you guys' thoughts. I read the comments, over 100 and something comments in my review that I did this past Thursday. And then, and I've responded to all of them. I read a lot of great conversations. You guys are so great in the mix of the community of this show. I know some of you guys mentioned your reasons why you think Jacob's innocent, or maybe why he's guilty. If you guys watch my review, I am in the camp that Jacob is guilty of the murder of Ben, and we'll talk about that obviously. But no, this is what I'm looking forward to, guys, is having these conversations. Like James says, let me bring him up here. He says, I still think Jacob is innocent, and like I said, James, let me know, man. Let me know what your thoughts are. Because I know some people. Again, I've been reading. If you've been following me for a while, I always appreciate you guys showing the support. So whenever you take the time to leave a comment, I always want to respond. So I've been reading a lot of the responses or the comments and responding to them. But this is what tonight's going to be about, guys. Is just kind of venting, letting it all out, letting me know what you guys are thinking. James Tucker, let me know what are, you don't have to give me a 20-page essay of the reasons why, but just let me know what makes you think that he's innocent. Is the evidence not, sufficient enough to make you think the opposite? But we'll break that down. I'm excited to do so. But thank you for coming in, James. We're going to have a fun night tonight, guys. We're going to get this bad boy started in about 2 minutes. So about 5:05. We'll start it up in 2 minutes here. And I'm going to have a timer up periodically to let you guys know where we're at in the on the watch along. So we got Robert. What's going on, Robert? Can't wait to hear your thoughts, Robert. I read a lot of your comments in the review, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts. We got Film Explore L. What's going on? Welcome. Adrian, I don't think he's innocent. I'm kind of right there with you, Adrian. The story was messed up. Yeah, it was a really tragic. Actually, this will be my third time watching the episode. I watched it the other day and watch it now with you all, and then obviously watching it when it premiered. So I'm still pretty confident in where my thoughts are with Jacob and being guilty or not guilty. So, but we'll get into all that once we get started. So again, guys, we're getting some people in the chat here. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. But if you want to, you don't have to. As you can see on the lower half here, it does say I do have, you can donate to the channel if you guys want to via super chats or streamlabs.com/movie files. But more importantly, like I said, just give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel, and I really appreciate it. But if you guys want to go ahead and get this, let me know when you guys are ready. We'll start. Like I said, it's 5:05 now. We're getting people in chat. So I'll give people maybe another 5 minutes, and then we'll get it started exactly at 5:10, and we'll go ahead and all press play and get this thing going. Hey, welcome, welcome. Hello. Glad you guys were able to tune in tonight. Hello, I think Jacob is guilty. Yeah, Kellyanne, we'll talk about that. And like again, we'll break it all down. I would love to know what you guys, if you're in the same camp with me. Like again, if you've watched my reviews, ever since maybe episode 6, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty confident that Jacob is guilty. But then obviously with the stuff that happened in episode 7, with the story that came out, the graphic details, yes, I know Joanna vetted the statement that he made on that Cutter site and everything, and all the stuff that was given to the public was given to Jacob could have took that information and put it in that post, but I mean, he's a 14-year-old or 15-year-old kid, based on his recent birthday. And it's just like, yeah, I know kids are stupid. I mean, at 15, I did some dumb things, but I think Jacob's a little bit more intelligent. I mean, they mentioned when the doctor did his test, he had a very high IQ for his age. So I think that, for him to be stupid enough to write that online where it can be found, I don't know, guys. I don't know. That's something. And also too, we'll talk about obviously too the therapy sessions in regards to his lack of empathy. I think all the all the breadcrumbs, if you want to call it that, were kind of laid in place to kind of give it that, like I said, I'm in the camp of Jacob being guilty, but I can definitely, I see the other side of the spectrum in regards to how some people think Pats is responsible for it. But also I want to know who also, if it isn't Pats or Pats or Jacob, who else are you guys thinking could have possibly done it? Some people mentioned Sarah, Derek, potentially Ben's dad. And if there's any other ones out there, Matt, I know Matt was someone that I had mentioned in my review, how he just kind of left town to go to Florida. So yeah, we're going to get it all down. So again, in about 3 minutes, guys, on my, Central Time is 5:07. So at 5:10, we're going to get this started. We're going to all press play on the season finale, episode 8, and we're just going to break it down, talk about the pivotal moments, the incredible, I've always mentioned in my reviews, no matter what you think about the ending, which we'll talk about how you guys feel about that ending, but, there's no denying the acting from Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery, which I know a lot of you all weren't the biggest fans of Lori. I actually like Lori's character, minus that decision that she made at the end of the movie or the show. But and Jade Martell, I thought that the performances were absolutely incredible. And like I said, I don't think there's no denying that, regardless of what you think about Lori or even Andy or Jacob. But I think it's I think the acting was incredible, but I really, really love the series. So again, we got about 2 minutes. Again, if you guys are at home and just tuning in, we're going to get this bad boy started at 5:10. We're going to all press play at the same time and break down an episode, talk about the pros, the cons, talk about a little bit about the series as a whole, but more importantly, is Jacob guilty or is he innocent? We're going to break that down and get all to it here in about 2 minutes, guys. So we got some more people in the chat. Welcome. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. My allergies today are like all over the place. My head is crazy pounding right now, but we're going to push through and have a good time tonight. James says he is a challenge. No evidence to link him to the bar. Yeah, I know. But, and then and to that point, James, I would say, the whole thing with Pats, some people think that Pats did it, but based on that picture. But I think the evidence or the stuff they put together from Jacob was a little bit more, a little bit more of a stronger argument regarding him being guilty or innocent. But yeah, like I said, those are the topics we're going to talk about tonight, guys. Those are the conversations we're going to have tonight in regards to just, let me know your reasoning why, the no evidence to link him to besides the fingerprints and that crazy story. But, those are some pretty big things compared to everyone else outside of, like I said, Pat's obviously had the photo of Ben, but it was a photo however far away it was and things of that nature. And obviously there's a little bit of history between him and Matt, which I would have liked to show that had explored that a little bit more. I don't know if that's something they did in the book, but we'll get into all that. I remember the doctor said he had extremely high IQ, so he might have been hiding it. Yeah. He was a smart guy, but he made some really stupid decisions. I want to know what do you erase from his laptop? That's a great point. That is a great point. I would like to know that too. Besides the Cutter website, what else was on his computer? It's a very great point. Karen said Matt probably did it. The boy was right. Yeah, I had mentioned that in my review. And you know what, guys, not to cut you off, Karen, but it's 5:10, guys. So if you want to go ahead and press play on your TV, your Apple TV, your iPhone, your iPad, however you're watching the show. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this clock up here, guys, so we can know exactly when we're going to press play. So let me open this up. And then we're going to go ahead and press play on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play now. So we are good to go. And I'm going to pull this little timer up. So for those that are popping into the chat a little bit later, they know exactly where we are. So right now it's playing well, actually on my end, it's playing a trailer for a show that I watched the first 3 episodes of, which is, what is it? Truth Be Told, I believe the name of the show, with Octavia Spencer and Jesse. What's his name? Drawing a blank right now. Aaron Paul. Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes of this show, and I wasn't that fond of it. I don't know if it got better after time, but I tried to watch Truth Be Told, and it just wasn't for me. But yeah, just to let you guys know where I'm at on the stream. It's now just showing you kind of previous weeks and showing the back of Andy's head as he goes to the trial for which was a big reveal, right? That was another big moment for the show for me in regards to that moment where we find out why he was going to that trial, not necessarily because of Jacob's murdering Ben, but Lori. So all righty, guys. So like I said, I hope you guys already have pressed play. Right now on my end, it's just showing the past weeks, and it just showed the letter that Pats wrote, which he said that I killed Ben. But if you guys remember, not to toot my own horn, and there was a lot of you guys that made that theory as well in regards to all Larry being the one responsible to getting the confession out of Pats and ultimately killing him. So that was a really, really big moment for the show. And that's something actually too, I don't know if you guys got a chance to, but earlier today I did a video regarding the differences between the book and the series, which was a lot of big changes. Some changes I liked more than the book, but there were some things from the book that I liked as well. So as we look at this, one thing, I don't know if you guys watched a lot, I love this intro. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it in my reviews, but I love the way that they bring the show in. Yeah, but yeah, Karen, I like the Matt thing. I think Matt, that there's something more to that than alluded to. It's most likely Derek, because he asked Sarah, "What did you tell them?" That's a good point too. But Derek, I mean, the evidence again, the show, shine a little bit of light on Derek and the whole situation with him and Sarah and Ben, but not enough, at least on my end, not enough evidence to show that he would, flat out kill another human. But that is a good point in regards to, the whole incident with Derek, and love can make you do some crazy things, especially at a young age when you think you love a girl, you want to do anything for her. But I ain't murdering nobody for nobody, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point with Derek. But again, I don't think the show, there was a lot of misdirection in the show, right? I think Derek and Sarah storyline definitely kind of threw us off the trail. But I think from day one that the show, kind of pointed towards us who the killer was, in my opinion, which, like I said, I think was Jacob. So one thing I don't understand is how quick Derek turned against him. Yeah, that's a great point, Adrian, in regards to, we saw, them hanging out. I think the last time we saw them as friends, Derek was in his room playing video games. And then they had that, the kind of misunderstanding or whatever the case may be, which, is not coming to mind right now, outside of the, him showing him the knife and the website. But that was a pretty quick, kind of change of pace in regards to their friendship, and their relationship kind of turned sour really quickly without really diving too deep into it. That's a great point, Andrea. Karen says Derek was my second person I thought that may have done it. Yeah, the whole, which is something I brought in my review of episode 7, was it maybe a 3-team situation with Sarah, Jacob, and Derek, maybe covering up and things of that nature. But, again, I think the show does a really good job of misdirecting us, right? Like I said, I think the Derek situation, Sarah, Matt, Even Pats himself really was meant to kind of misdirect us in thinking that it was someone else outside of the person that, like I said, I'm still in the camp that I think Jacob did it, guys. I'm pretty confident in saying that, just based on the stuff that we got thus far. And then, like I said, if you guys, I haven't read the book, but I had did it like once I saw this finale, which was like at 1 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, finishing it, I was literally up for like 2 hours just looking up because I didn't. And take my word for what it is. I did not, the entire series, I'd never looked at any Wikipedia pages. I didn't look at what happens in the book. I really want to be as surprised as possible. So as soon as that show ended, I went online and looked up the differences. And like I said, I did a video earlier today, pretty much breaking down the main differences between the book and the TV show and how everything kind of shook out in regards to the finale. So, but yeah, there's a lot of misdirection with the show, with, like I said, the other supporting characters in the mix and potentially being the one that we thought did it. Yeah, Derek was definitely suspicious. Jacob was framed. James is the one tonight, guys. I love it. James is definitely defending Jacob so far tonight, saying that Jacob was framed. Jacob's story was also super sus. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But on the dark side of it, I had no problem with what Billy did to keep his grandson. Yeah, on the dark side of it, for sure, that is dark, Karen, and that is something that is a very interesting conversation that we can have. As we see Jacob now being titled as a free man. This is one of the few times I had mentioned in my review that we got smiles. I've never been in a murder trial. I didn't know people clapped when people get claimed to be free like that, but yeah, in regards to, the decision that Billy, which this was something that I thought was maybe going to happen, that Billy, had took the fall from someone in the mafia, and Billy had called, Father Leary, and said, "Hey man, you owe me this favor from, me taking the fall for the killing of that girl," which obviously didn't play out that way. But yeah, I mean, that's I guess love. Do we call that love, from a killer in jail to kill someone else to free his grandson? No matter, even if the guy and Billy, and we'll get to that scene obviously, but Billy even said it, it doesn't matter if he's guilty or not. It's kind of like family over everything, which is another topic that I want to have, that I brought up in my reviews in regards to what I loved about this show, or, was that we didn't have two parents in Lori and Andy that was just like, yeah, our son's innocent. We're going to do anything and everything in our power to show that he's innocent, even if he isn't innocent, which we saw what Andy, which, Chris Evans does such a great job. I think that's why they cast it perfectly, Chris Evans, when it comes to Captain America. Captain America is pretty good at, keeping lies. I mean, he did lie to Tony Stark for all those years about, Bucky being the one that killed his parents. So he's good at lying. But I think that they casted Chris Evans so well because he makes it so easy in line. And I mean, like I said, rewatching this episode for the third time, it's so easy for Andy to lie, just to be like, who was that on the phone? Andy? Oh, it's the bill collector. How did your Skype call go with the new job? Oh, it was rescheduled. I mean, he's so quick to lie, but it's just like, so his charisma and the way he delivers it just makes it so, believable. But going back to Karen's question in regards to Billy, yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it, that he was, he was looking out for his grandson by killing a potentially innocent man, who I think was innocent. Yes, he's a child. He's a pedophile and all that. And no, by any means am I condoning that at all. But in regards to the confines of the show, he wasn't. I don't think he was responsible for Ben's death. But poor the Ripken family, right? I wonder, and I guess I don't know if it really matters to the story or not, but I wonder, if their marriage, his marriage to, Ben's mom, if that stayed steady, because, seeing that scene when his mom being broken down was really sad to see her just kind of a shell and just broken because she lost her son and never getting him back. Let me go back to the chat here. Kellyanne says, and again, guys, for everyone stopping by tonight, I really appreciate it. Stopping by tonight on this Sunday evening to watch the show with me and have these great conversations. But just to let you guys know, if you're just stopping in, if you want to know like where we are in the show, let me pull up the little timer here. So we are 8 minutes and 55 seconds into the show, guys. So again, if you're just tuning in, you can kind of sync it up with us so you can kind of know what scenes we're breaking down, talking about, discussing, and whatnot. So that's what we are, guys. And Jacob's now is headed home. And I love too, and I had mentioned in the review, like the first 15, 20 minutes was just so like happy, right? Everything, everything played out. The case was dropped. Everyone's smiling, happy. Life might move on. And I really love that they did that up front versus like everything that happened at the beginning taking place in the middle or damn near the end would have really lingered things on. So I love that they addressed this because it gave us obviously the stuff that happened in Mexico and all everything that took place there and all those stuff. So I love that they addressed this part of the show so early on with Pat and everything like that too. So. And this was something too, as we look at Neil kind of eating his whatever he's eating, which by the way, I can't think of the actor's name, but he just has that look, right? I don't know if you guys ever watched Orange is the New Black, but he was a terrible character in there. By terrible, not his acting, I'm just referring to the actual character. But anyway, going back to just, the Jacob being free and where we're at now. All right. So going back here. Again, for all those that are, like I said, where we're at in the show, but also for everyone that's stopping by tonight, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. And if you want to, you don't have to. You can donate to the channel via super chats or through streamlabs.com/movie files. But you don't have to do that. Just give this video a thumbs up and I would really appreciate it. Kelly Ann says, why would Jacob tell someone he saw a dead body? That doesn't make sense. Why would Jacob tell someone he saw a dead body? That doesn't make sense. Or are you saying why wouldn't he? Or maybe you, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, and in regards to why would Jacob tell someone he saw a dead body? That doesn't make sense. I would, if I saw a dead body, I would tell someone, but I don't know if that's what you meant, or if you're. I mean, I guess I'll just read it the way that is quoted here. I mean, as they had mentioned, Andy mentioned a couple of times that, he got scared. He saw the dead body of his bully and he didn't want people to immediately assume it was him because of their past relationship in regards to the, Ben bullying Jacob. But yeah, that's like I said, let me know if I'm reading that right, Kellyanne, in regards to if you meant why wouldn't he call or if you meant it the way you would or wouldn't. Film the way the episode starts, I didn't think it would get better. The acting was amazing. Yeah. and I had, we've talked about it, in all my reviews, the performances between Chris Evans, who, like I said, he's been a fantastic actor for a while in my eyes, and obviously Team Cap all day. But this really kind of shows his range and his abilities to bring you the drama, to bring you the seriousness, and bring you just the acting chops. He's a director too. He's kind of a may I, damn near say it in regards to kind of look at him kind of like a Ben Affleck in regards to just multi-talented actor, but also a director, writer, producer. So he's, it's sad to say that we probably won't see him again in the Captain America suit. Well, who knows what the future holds, but I know recently over the weekend he said, yeah, I'm pretty much done playing Cap. But, I'm really, even though it saddens me to say that, I'm really excited to see what Chris Evans does based on his other work, but also based on, this and Knives Out. And just playing to the opposite of what we've been seeing him in the last 10, 12 years in the MCU, which is the good guy, showing you a lot of layers, but also Michelle Dockery, who I've never watched Downton Abbey, but I've seen her, most recently in Guy Ritchie's Gentleman. And I know she's been in some other shows and other movies. She's just such a fantastic actress. And again, I know a lot of people were not on Lori's team throughout the entire season. I know a lot of people, by all means, it was like, how can a mother not trust her son, this, that, and the other. But like I said, I love that the complexity of these two parents. And it's kind of like the audience, right? Like some of us believe he did it, some of us doesn't believe he does it. And that's kind of what Andy and kind of reflects Andy and Lori in regards to the, the audience and putting us in their shoes. So I love that her motherly instinct told her that there is something off about Jacob and his story and his innocence. And I love that. And then again, like I said, I love that the other side of the fence, regardless of what the evidence was, Andy could not stomach the idea that his son did this based on his relationship with his dad and things of that nature. So I just love that complexity of the characters and the family dynamic. And if Andy did it, or if Andy did, well, let me go back to, did I miss a question by you, James? Is most likely there because he asks. I'm not sure. Are you saying you think that Andy might have been the one to do the murder? Let me know if that's what you meant by that, James. Highly unlikely because anything is possible. That wouldn't be a nice little twist if Andy had done it. Yeah, yeah, that would have been I don't know, a nice twist, because that would have been like, for what? Why would he kill Ben? Like, why? He just killing little 14-year-old kids for no reason. And plus, he didn't know that Ben, or at least he alluded to. I know Andy's good at lying, but when he found out that Ben was picking on him, it seemed like it was news to him. So it wasn't like he knew that his son was being bullied. Which, if that was the case, obviously, I don't think a parent would kill another kid just because they're bullying their kid. Again, bullying is not acceptable at all, but also murder is not acceptable. So I don't know if that would be the angle. Again, we're just assuming. I'm just playing the assume game, but I mean, that would have been a very interesting twist if that was the case. But for everyone, again, for those that are just tuning in, just to let you know where we are in the show. Pull up the little clock, the little timer here. We're about 15 minutes into the show. So if you guys are just tuning in, welcome. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments in the chat so we can talk about it. Talk about, our thoughts, our theories, our pros or cons, all that fun stuff. This is the purpose of tonight's watch along, is to break it all down with you all, because I've been having such a great time watching this show, guys, and interacting with you all. Again, if you've been following me for a while, I don't leave comments unread and unanswered and unresponsive. I respond to all you guys' comments just because I appreciate you guys taking the time. And some of you guys have such great, all you guys have great comments, but some of you guys have like super in-depth, insightful comments that I just love reading. And I just love that you guys do that. So this is why we're doing this tonight, just to talk to you guys, talk about our emotions with this episode and this show and this series. So thank you so much for tuning in. But again, if you're just tuning in, this is where we are in the show. Again, this is when we see Andy starting to put the pieces to the puzzle together. That, oh man, that guy that keeps popping up randomly might have had something to do with the disappear, or might have had something to do with Pat's death, which is a theory which I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, which ended up being true, but with a different twist to it, with him actually killing Pat, which someone actually mentioned in the comments too. So again, I love interacting with you all. What's going on? I agree. He does seem like the most likely person to have done it. I think the showrunners wanted us to have doubts, though. Yeah, like I said, this is definitely a show of misdirection. And also, going back to that conversation I was just having about comments, Dina here had some incredible comments last week, and I love her insight. She's I don't mean to put your business all out there, but she is a mother, and she had mentioned, something that I was kind of mentioning in my reviews in regards to Lori, right? It's just like, yeah, those are the kids you raised, and that's your family. Blood is thicker than water, and defending your kids as much as possible. I'm not a parent of a human. I'm a parent of a dog who's over there sleeping on the bed, who's celebrating his 7th birthday, by the way. But yeah, I mean, if you're a parent, that's got to be hard to know that your kid's a potential murderer, right? But there's a motherly instinct, right? That if you have something in your gut that's telling you that something's off, and in the way that Lori approached it, that's why I like the Lori character, just because she went against the grain. She went against the whole stick by family no matter what, which I respect, and I do that to a certain extent. But if I knew my mom or my family member killed someone, and not that's something that I couldn't sleep well. I couldn't sleep at night if I knew that, right? So that's why I love the Lori character so much, and that complexity with that character. But like I said, I loved her insights on everything she said. It was her being the mother and how she would look at things and how she broke it out. Again, you guys' comments are incredible. Jacob did it. Yeah, I think he did as well. I did the same thing with The Outsider. I didn't want to know the information about, and The Outside. That's a great point. That's a fantastic show, which I did a lot of coverage on that show and break it down. So this scene here, guys, again, for all those that are watching at home, we are currently at the scene where Andy is visiting his dad and wants to know, hey, man, what did you do? What involvement did you have in Pat's death? And of course, Billy playing the no snitching, and especially in prison, is playing dumb, right? But we all know that he set it up. Boy, someone had mentioned, I don't know, this is kind of a wild twist and just kind of a what if scenario. Someone had mentioned, what if Andy was the one that did it? And, like I said, I guess the only evidence of him, maybe the motive would be picking on my son, whatever, and kills him for whatever reason. But what if it was set up that, and they obviously they didn't have a relationship, But what if it was set up that, Billy had the kid killed, right? Because he's picking on his grandson. I don't know how he would have gotten that information out because no one knew about Billy until obviously this case broke out. But that would have been like a crazy thing. Like Billy somehow, some way had people protecting his family and he's seen his son being picked. Again, this is a what if scenario, right? These bonker theories and ideas. And I'm just thinking about just playing along with you guys tonight with the whole Annie maybe being a murderer. But what if Billy had the kid killed, which would be really dark, really, really dark. But yeah. But yeah, going back to your point there, yeah, whenever I see a show or a movie that's based on a book, I don't like to be spoiled on things. Obviously, there's Twitter and Instagram and stuff gets spoiled and it doesn't, destroy my thoughts on a certain thing. But yeah, I don't read the books or look at Wikipedia when it's a show like this. Like I want to be just as surprised as someone that read the book for the first time, how shocked they were. Which, by the way, speaking of book, guys, I don't know if you guys got a chance to. Earlier today, I did a video simply titled "The Differences Between the Book and the Series" and breaking down what the book did versus the series did. Which, by the way, to that point, the book and the show are very similar in the matter of what we're seeing on the screen now, which is O'Leary killing Pats. That happened in the book, but the way that Lori and Annie perceived this particular incident was that it was Pats was kind of doing them a favor, that he was kind of looking out for Jacob, kind of taking the fall in regards to the confession letter and everything of that nature. And the show has a very similar thread, but obviously it plays out a little bit differently, where it's not they're not like, thank you Pats for confessing. They're just like, I'm glad that it's taken care of and we can go to Mexico now. So that's definitely a little bit of a difference from the book there. From what I was able to look up in regards to research. So let me go back to the comments here. Adrian says, did you guys notice the Cap reference? Whatever it takes. Yeah. I don't know, Adrian, if you got a chance to see all my reviews, but I think it was episode 5 or episode 6 where he said that. And that was something I mentioned in my review. That was the in-game mantra, right? Whatever it takes. But yeah, Captain America, like I had mentioned earlier in the stream, Cap, and he's a good liar, and it proves well with Captain America lying to Tony about his parents being killed. He kept that lie. So I love the Chris Evans is such a great actor, and he's willing to lie for his family and do whatever it takes, as we just said, to protect his family. Oh, and by the way, that line, which was incredible to me, when Billy says, J.K. Simmons, you have a choice to be a good man or a good father. That's a really powerful line in regards to, you can be a good man and tell the cops what you think happened, or you can protect your son and do whatever it takes to protect your son and defend your son, defending Jacob. I love that line. It's really resonating. Obviously, he says he wasn't either one of them. He wasn't a good man or a good father, but that was a really good line to me. That was really well written. I don't know if that was in the book or if the writer of the show made that, but that line there was really, really, really powerful in my opinion. And then again, it goes without saying, J.K. Simmons, legend. But I wish Billy was in the show a little bit more, but even the little bit that we got from him was incredible. And this scene is just so powerful to me in regards to the acting. Again, guys, I'm a little nasally, so if I sound a little nasally, my allergies today are bananas. So pushing through. I would like to. Ben's parents interact. Yeah, I would have liked it. And I had mentioned that, right? And we can talk about some of the criticisms now in the season. There were some supporting characters that were just simply used as I don't want to say a plot device, but just to kind of as we mentioned, there's a lot of misdirect in this show, right? But there were some supporting characters that really I would have liked to have seen interactions with Ben, just in general. Like I would have liked to have seen Ben have a conversation with Jacob, with Sarah, with what's the other kid's name? Derek. I would have liked to have seen before the show started, not before the show started, but before everything broke out. I would have liked to have seen a scene of just everyday life. I would have liked to seen the scenes with the Barber family, just being a family and just pre this murder incident. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of that, but also just a little bit of other backstory in regards to just what a day in the life looks like for Jacob, for Ben, for his parents, all that stuff. I would have liked, maybe just, a little bit of that before we just dove right into it, because we didn't get a chance to spend time with Ben and see how he treated Jacob and how he treated others around him. We just, obviously, it was just kind of he say, she say type of stuff. And also, like I had mentioned in my review, I would have liked to have seen the Barber family when they were at their best, right? Before or pretending to be at their best in regards to the lies that Andy doesn't tell them about his dad and his upbringing and stuff of that nature. But I would have liked to had seen them as a regular family prior to all this stuff happening. And of course, we get those moments, when they go to the celebrate his birthday and going to Mexico and going fishing, but that was in the midst of all this murder cases. Then the relationship was already kind of crumbling. So I would have liked to have seen that prior to that. But yeah, there was a lot of things I would have liked to have seen in regards to some character development. That was one of them. With Passes leading the picture from Ben in episode 2, makes me think less sympathy for him being killed by Ola. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not condoning murder, but yeah, I mean, a guy that, again, in the confines of the show, he's not obviously the actor is acting, but yeah, in the confines of the show, yeah, there's, I mean, we can be honest with each other, right? And I appreciate your honesty there in this comment, but yeah, I mean, again, not condoning murder, not condoning anything of that nature, but when a pedophile, there is a little bit less sympathy when someone like, Pat's in the picture and, what he allegedly did to Matt and all that stuff. Yeah, there's a little bit of less sympathy in the incident, but again, not condoning murder by any means, and nor are you. I know you're not condoning that as well, but I definitely understand your comment there for sure. I think that there was something up with Ben's dad. Very weird behavior. Yeah, someone had mentioned that, man. Like, I can't remember pretty early on, and I want to give that person their credit, but I can't remember their name. I don't know if you're in the chat now. There was someone that had mentioned it like weeks ago, like episode 4. They're like, man, Ben's dad is weird. Like, there's something up with Ben. And someone had mentioned Ben's dad. It might have been the killer, which, again, there's no evidence, at least in the confines in the show. I don't know if in the book, if they elaborate on that relationship a little bit more, but there was no, at least from our end on the show, there was, again, we didn't get any scenes with Ben and his parents. We got the scene where Andy was reading the text messages, and it seemed like they were a pretty happy-go-lucky family. Like, oh, we're going to go out to eat and go to vacation, this, that, the other. But there's no evidence for me, at least, to show that Ben, Puerto Rico. And by the way, when I was watching this for the first time, I was just so thrown off. It was kind of jarring because everything so far this season has been so dark and gloomy. And we go to this beautiful island in Mexico. It's just kind of like, what show am I watching? But anyway, yeah, I know. Yeah, Ben's dad was definitely weird, but I don't know if he, again, what would be the reason? Why would he kill his son? And we don't know that dynamic in their relationship. Lori with the classic tucked in shirt all season long. And we got Hope, which, again, going back to my video earlier today, Hope is someone from the book, but things play out very differently for Hope in this show versus the book. But I thought it was funny that Hope was like, oh, don't I know you? Weren't you the kid in It? Weren't you a celebrity? Ben dad seems suspicious. I know Neil was just doing his job, but he seemed like a little bit of a jerk. Yeah, no, for sure. I know Neil was doing his job. Yeah, I mean, Ben's dad was definitely suspicious, and Neil was also, and that's another particular story thread that I didn't think was, I wish was a little bit more elaborated on in regards to, as I had mentioned in many of my reviews, there seemed like there was a bit of hatred in regards to Neil and his whole approach in that court trial. Like, there was something. I know a lot of us was making theories that maybe. I had made a prediction video in regards to reading you guys' comments that maybe Lori and Neil had a past relationship, and maybe that's why Neil isn't the fond of Andy. But then obviously we saw that they had their relationship, and Andy kind of showed him the ropes, and Neil seemed to appreciate that. And the show really never explained it, but I guess I take it as it's just a matter of he just wants to be the better lawyer, and that's why he really wants to kind of show him up. And obviously we saw those tactics and that advice that Andy had given him at the bar. He was using that in the trial. I like that kind of that scene, how that played out. But yeah, I would have liked to have got a little bit more insight on why Neil was kind of so, seemed like attacking and looking at Lori and looking at Jacob and, and Andy weird during the trial. But I guess it's just a matter of, like I said, pride and ego and want to be the better lawyer. Agree with James. Yeah, about his dad being weird for sure. Yeah, snowball effect. Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Again, Andy just and it's that whole thing growing up, right? When you do a small lie, it becomes a big lie, and then when you do it so often, it just becomes nature, just becomes secondhand, just becomes kind of like Andy. Again, just the smallest things, like well, not the smallest things, but for example, his father. Every time he called, he would tell Lori, "Oh, it was this or that or the third," and it was just so easy. It wasn't like he wasn't like, "Oh, it was the cable guy." It was just like, "No, it was." The credit card company, or no, it was, it's so easy for him to lie. And like I said, to your comment here, when you lie so often, it becomes nature, it becomes second nature, it becomes so easy. And like you said, it's definitely a snowball effect. And that's a really great point. Okay, so Kelly, yeah, this is going on. I'm catching up with you guys' comments, but this is, I guess, Kelly referring to, I meant, why wouldn't he tell someone, in regards to why wouldn't Andy, or why wouldn't Jacob tell someone? Yeah, I totally agree with you. Why wouldn't you tell someone that you found a dead body? Because you murdered them. That's why. But yeah, everything so far, guys, like I said, where we are in the episode, I'm trying to, obviously, this is my third time watching it, but I'm just thinking in my head, this is just, everything's just going too smooth. There's something's going to happen. And then obviously, as things kind of shake out, we find out that I love too that her name was Hope. I don't know if that's something intentional by the writers, but like hope, like, is there hope that their life can move forward? Is there hope that he can move forward and Jacob can go back to his regular life? So I kind of like that, maybe a particular little Easter egg, maybe, or her name meaning a little bit more to the story. When she spoke to the reporter, I was not feeling Lori. Yeah, that was and again, we had talked about it during that time when Lori had made the mistake, and also Jacob made a mistake with going online, and Jacob made a lot of mistakes in this show. But yeah, Lori, that was a vulnerable state. She was in a vulnerable state. She had no idea that lady was the reporter, but she definitely kind of spilled the beans and kind of poured her heart out to a stranger. And I thought that was going to maybe play a bigger part in the season, which it really didn't, outside of the news coming out with how she felt about things, but it wasn't like pivotal to the story. By the way, guys, this scene that we're at now, where Jacob's saying, "Hey, I'm going to hang out with Hope, and we're going to go to this party." I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but on both parents, if I'm Jacob's parents, if I'm Lori and Andy, I'm like, Jacob, you're not hanging out with anyone by yourself, buddy. No offense, but we need to keep a parental control of you. And then, if I'm being honest, if I'm the parents and they said that the parents knew who Jacob was and they were cool with it, and just to let you guys know, we're 31 minutes into the show. So if you're just tuning in, you know where we are. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you want, you don't have to. I have Streamlabs available. If you want to donate to the channel, super chats would be greatly appreciated, but you don't have to do it. But definitely give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. But yeah, we're 31 minutes into the show, guys. But going back to my comment, if I'm the parents of Hope's parents, if I'm Hope's parents, I am not letting my daughter hang out guilty or innocent. I'm not letting you hang out by yourself with an alleged murderer. He got off of the case, but it's just like, hey, we're in Mexico. You can meet other people. You can enjoy some food, hang out on the beach, but you don't need to be hanging out with this kid. That's just me personally. I don't know if that makes me a bad person or not, but everyone deserves second chances, but not that soon, but maybe that's just me. Am I the only one that wanted some closure for Sarah? Yeah. I had mentioned that there were definitely some characters that I thought, I don't want to say deserved, but I would have liked to had seen some more of an arc or a bow to their storyline. But like I had mentioned a little bit earlier, a lot of these characters, Sarah, Derek, Ben's parents, even Pat's to a small degree, they were misdirected, right? They wanted the audience to be thrown off, right? To be like, oh, maybe it's this person, maybe it's this person. But yeah, I would have liked that scene, the end game and kind of what happened with Sarah, because it seems like Jacob's moving on from Sarah because he's talking to Hope now, and I don't know if they were friends, not in a relationship, but he seemed to move on from Sarah pretty quickly when he goes to Mexico. By the way, again, guys, going back to that video I had made earlier regarding the book when they went on vacation versus the show, little Easter eggs in regards to the book really pointing towards Jacob being guilty was, he meets Hope and Hope goes missing, like what's going on now. But then in the book, there's some blood on his shorts, which, the parents noted. And then in the book, Hope there's no hope for Sarah. She's found weeks later and she was strangled. So I think that kind of the book was really pointing towards Jacob being guilty versus the show kind of again leave it a little bit more open ended. But I think that Jacob was the one that did it, guys. I do. I really do. So at this point, we see the police going up to Jacob, and again going back to me just putting myself in when I saw this for the first time. I'm just like, oh man, this ain't good, man. You're not Andy doesn't have control of this court in this situation. These people don't know them. So right now it's just like this isn't gonna be well for the Barber family. Andy the murderer. It's okay. Gee, thanks. Oh yeah, no problem. Like I said, I appreciate your comments and your in-depth analysis on the show. Really, really appreciate it. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Jacob. Yeah, I think it was Jacob, but yeah. When the DA's office gave Andy a box of belongings, both the pictures, he put in his box of Jacob. He wasn't smiling. Yeah, again, I think, and to that point, such a fantastic point. Again, everyone I know, and we'll talk about the ending, obviously, when we get there, but I know everyone was just like, I want a definitive answer. I didn't want to know if he did or not. I think that the writers and the creators of the show put enough breadcrumbs out there to let us know what direction that they are saying the story is going in regards to his innocence or him being guilty. And I think that the evidence is there to show that he was guilty. To your point, the lack of smiling, again, me saying this, I'm just talking about in the confines of the show, not in real life. Just because you're not smiling in the picture doesn't mean you're going to murder someone in the future. But what I'm saying in the confines of the show, the evidence of him in the bowling ball scenario, crazy. The lack of empathy, the way he handled Ben's being, killing and saying, oh, people, which to a little bit of to Jacob's defense, yeah, people do kind of, when someone, when you're at that age and someone dies, a celebrity dies, it can be definitely when anyone dies, it's extremely sad, but sometimes people act fake and, just want to kind of get on that train of sympathy and get a little bit of attention. But going back to his lack of empathy with Ben's death, and then obviously that, to me, the most telling thing about Jacob being guilty, that story, again, yes, he had the story was out in the news 3 days before Ben. So he could have, like he said, Joanne vetted the story. He could have just took the story he saw from the news anchor and put it in his story. But again, going back to the therapist saying that he has an extremely high IQ, I don't think anyone of that extremely high IQ would do something that stupid if you're innocent. Why would you go about? He did it twice in the show, by the way, with the whole Christian Bale's character in American Psycho, like putting his face on there and saying, oh, everyone thinks I'm a killer. Ha ha ha. Stupid. And then the story is extremely stupid. So it's just like, again, I think the breadcrumbs were there showing the signs of that darker side of Jacob that the parents and even the audience, we don't necessarily see it. It's not blatant. We don't see him pushing someone down the stairs. We don't see him being nasty or being inappropriate or being violent. But the things that we find out about Jacob kind of points to that darker side that we just don't see, which again goes back to how I see this show in regards to we as the audience are kind of put in a position as the parents. Lori is the one that sees these things. She's learning about this information and she's taking that in as a mother and taking that inventory and believing in her gut. My son did something terrible. And she went that direction where Andy, like a lot of those audience members, are just like, well, Pat's had the picture and, well, Derek was protecting Sarah, or, well, Ben's dad is creepy. We're taking all that information and saying that he's innocent, but I'm on the side of Lori. I'm on the side of you guys that think he's guilty. I think Jacob is guilty. And I think that the writers did that as well. Like I said, they want to put us in the position of the parents where it's just like, we didn't see Jacob do any of these things. Like I said, when Lori and Andy find out that Jacob was bullied, that he had the cutter website, that he had the knife, we're finding this out and they're finding this out as well. So I kind of love that position that the writers put us in regards to, we don't see any of the violence on screen from Jacob. It's all kind of off screen, but they're giving us all this information to kind of, like I said, point us in that direction. That's just my 2 cents. Good catch, chilling. Yeah, very good catch with the picture being him not smiling. What if there isn't closure? Hey, what's going on, man? Film geeks. When Andy visits his dad, yeah, that powerful performance, man. That was incredible. That was a really good moment. Also a really good performance as well. But this was a good moment too in regards to Andy just being broken. Obviously a little alcoholic encouragement, kind of get this truth out of him. But this is the first time that he's just speaking the truth about, Pats and his son. And this is a fantastic point as well. Within this scene, again, for everyone that's just tuning in, we're at the moment where, Andy's telling Lori about Pats and his father and everything being involved. But this moment here, we seeing him tell the truth. But even with him even telling the truth, he still says when Lori's like, well, he's not innocent anymore. He's, he killed Ben. And then even 2 seconds ago, he said, he tells us information, but then he goes right back, not in line, but he goes right back to the defense of Jacob, right? It's just like, yeah, that you just found this information out. You're freaking crying about it. And the truth is there, but it's just so hard for him to say it. I love that moment. Right here. Jacob was never innocent, and he goes right to, it doesn't mean that. Of course it means that. It's like, see, and he can't even face the fact that it's true. But obviously we're seeing Lori reaction. She's just like, yes, the proof is in the pudding, Andy. So I just love that. Again, it just shows the lengths that Andy will do to protect his son. And again, he just hates the idea that his son was a murderer, just like his dad or his grandfather, I should say. Yeah, but what's going on, Film Geeks? Glad you were able to stop by, man. Welcome. Excuse me. Kellyanne says, if I was in Lori's position, I would have been like her. Yeah, I agree with you, Lorianne, or Kellyanne. I'm sorry, Lorianne. Jacob to me seemed unfazed by the kid dying. I love J.K. Simmons and Chris Evans acting across. Yeah. Acting scenes were insane, really good. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Kellyanne, and where in your comments. Film Geeks, I felt a lot of the things were kind of rushed in this episode. I wish there was 2 more episodes. Yeah, no, I saw that in your review, Film Geeks, and I definitely get that point, man. I know, like in your review, you had mentioned, like, what was life like after the case. So I think you said in your review, if the scene where, we'll get to that scene, but when Lori does what she does, crashes in the wall, the episode ends, and then we get maybe another episode or 2. But personally, man, I think that the story wrapped up, in my estimate, in my personal opinion, I think it wrapped up well, which we'll talk about that at the end. Do we want a season 2? I know some of you guys want a season 2, which, we'll get to that point. I wouldn't want a season 2, just me personally. I think the story, some shows it's a mini series. It just needs to be 1 season, and we can, maybe these other creators can get together to make another story. But I think this story is pretty much wrapped up. But yeah, no, I kind of understand what you're getting at, Film Geeks, in regards to maybe a little bit more explanation. But again, based on, we'll get to that scene, but what the writer of the show said, the way that he saw the ending, and we'll talk about that, and I talked about that in my video. But yeah, I wouldn't say it, I don't think that it was rushed, but I can see what you mean. We talked about it earlier, the supporting characters not having a complete arc, figuring out life when they come back from Mexico. What is she up to? What's Derek up to now? Now that Jacob is innocent, what are they still friends? Is Derek, first off, and also too, this, like, the whole thing of the website, like, is that, I know in the confines of the show, again, that he was let off the case, he was innocent, but, like, yeah, those are words, but those are some pretty powerful words he said online in regards to the details of Ben's death. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, maybe wrap up. But like I said, those characters they were misdirect, right? They were supporting characters, and their story wasn't as integral to the story because they were just supporting characters that were meant to misdirect the audience. As we see Lori in the bed, just replaying again. The detail in that story that Jacob wrote is very alarming, in my opinion, and really, again, goes to my point of him being guilty. We need a second season that explores more into the investigation, maybe a botched investigation by Neil and get Andy. Yeah, again, I'm always a fan of giving content creators a creative challenge. I think the story wrapped up fine, and I think if we got a second season, I think it would be a lot of just repetitiveness. Like we've seen this story, like, why are we reopening the case again? Sometimes it's good to have, just leave it to your, I know people don't like this, but sometimes it's good to just leave things the way it is in regards to just your interpretation, how you think it played out after everything played out. But if they made a second season, I don't think it would. Again, I'm all about creativity and that challenge of, like, when people say don't make a sequel, you can't make the sequel as good as the original, and then they do it, but then on the other side of that, they don't do it, and it ends up not damaging the first one, but it makes the first one kind of compromise when you make a sequel or a follow up to a really good season that I think wrapped up the story pretty well. But no, I mean, and again, maybe not a whole season, but going back to Film Geek's comment, maybe 2 more episodes, maybe 2 more episodes could have, talked about what you're talking about here, James, in regards to answering some of those questions. What would be crazy if Sarah did it? Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, it's just crazy with the idea of Jacob doing it, right? But again, the evidence doesn't point towards Sarah having any, the show didn't have Sarah go to a psychologist and see if has lack of empathy. The show didn't show us Sarah at a celebrating her a 5-year-old's birthday and pushing a little girl off of a trampoline or something. It didn't show us those darker sides of those characters, but who it did show us the darker sides is Jacob. So again, Sarah, Derek, Pat's, Ben's dad, Matt, all those are just misdirected. It's to get us off the trail of like Jacob's the killer, in my personal opinion. That line got me too. True Love. What's going on, True Love? I'm glad you're able to make it out tonight. I assume you're talking about the line with the being a good man or a good dad. I want to see more interaction between Ben and Jacob. Yeah. That's what like I said, what I mentioned earlier, and going back to Film Geek's comment about maybe 2 more episodes, maybe even, I think the first episode was maybe 54, 58 minutes. It should have been maybe an hour and a half and gave us maybe 20 minutes prior to everything going down. What was life like for the Barber family on a day-to-day basis? Ben's interactions, Sarah's interactions. Hell, maybe we even see the moment where Ben did the whole blackmailing thing to Sarah. I don't know, just to kind of set the tone and make us think like, man, this kid is really bad. And then when he dies, like, oh, damn, I didn't know that, but I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more of that prior to when everything jumped off. Star Wars 101. I want a season 2 a few years later to express the aftermath of, wouldn't you? No, me personally, but I know some people do, obviously, and definitely respect your opinion in that matter. But I think that the story, it wrapped up in my eyes perfectly. And what the writer of the show said is his ending for how the show was, the life after that accident was, and again, you can watch my video when I broke this down, but he said, and he did it in Variety, you can look it up. I believe it was Variety that did this interview with him, but he said that, his ending as he sees the story is, Jacob wakes up from his coma, Lori wakes up, and the idea is kind of switched now, The season was Lori was thinking that her son was a murderer, which he is, in my opinion. But now the tables have turned because now when Jacob wakes up, his mom tried to kill him. So it's kind of switching the reversal, right? So I kind of like that idea. And the idea that Jacob doesn't go to jail for murdering Ben, but his mind is in prison, that he has this now, this is going to stick with him, and same goes with Lori. So I actually like that more versus seeing it and having a whole season and maybe feeling repetitive and throwing in all these crazy, storylines that might not make sense. So I'm fine with one season, one and done. But again, I'm always up and accepting a writer taking the creativity challenge, was like, you know what? People think that the story is over, but we're going to make it even better than the first one. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and you get some terrible follow-ups to a really good season of a show. Excuse me. Again, guys, I apologize if I sound nasally. Allergies are off the charts today. This was a really sad scene for me, seeing Ben's mom just a shell of herself, right? She's broken. And the way I took this scene is Lori, is just thinking about it. Lori's in her position in regards to, this is Lori's future, right? Even though her son is physically here with her, the day that Ben died, Jacob also died, because Jacob took away his innocence, took away him not being a killer. So in Lori's eyes, she lost, two kids died that day. Obviously one physically is gone off the earth, but then her son and her innocence of her son and who she thinks her son is dead. So I thought that was a really powerful scene, seeing maybe a future version of Lori in the future. I'm sorry. Let me go back to that one comment. I think the show is meant to demonstrate how how built on lies this family is, rather than being a whodunit. Yep, it's because even Jacob hasn't done it. His relationship with his parents is still wrecked. Yeah, that's a really great point. Really well said too. Here is Zora. I think that's really well said. I think that is the point of the show, right? I had mentioned it very early on. There was a show on HBO called The Night of with Ms. Arad. Arad, I can't think of his name right now. Fantastic actor, really good show. But I was so caught up in the who murdered that girl. And again, I don't want to spoil anything if you guys haven't seen that show, but the point of the show was what the jail system can do to an innocent person. And when they potentially get out of jail or when they're in jail, how it shapes them and how they, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but how it affects that person moving forward. But I was just so gun ho on that series of who killed the girl. Show us who killed her. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but let's just say I'll just say the same way you guys feel about defending Jacob is how I kind of felt about the ending for The Night of. A fantastic show. But to your point, what you were just saying, Zara, in regards to the point of the show, yes, the hook, the premise, the enticing thing that we want to know is who killed Ben, right? Who murdered him? We want to physically see that on screen, which I totally get that, because that's where I was with The Night of. And also another show on HBO, Sharp Objects, had a similar premise to the hook was who killed the girls, who it was a serial killer in a small town. But we're so caught up in the who done it, we forget about the point of the show, which is in this case, and I love this scene here, where you see Andy and Lori, and there's a wall in between them, the division between those two. I think that's a beautifully shot. Again, the show, production, acting, fantastic. But going back to that comment, yeah, I think that is the point of the show. And again, we lose focus on what the show's about, because again, we're just like, I want to know who killed him. I want to see that scene. But again, that's something that art does, right? Is it leaves the audience for the appetite of just talking. That's what we're doing now with the watch along. I think the show is so fantastic, and that it makes us continue to have these conversations. Adrian says, that's so funny for me. I don't know why that's so funny, because it is funny. For a family who said multiple times, no secrets, they tend to lie a lot. That is very true. But again, going back to, relatability, right? We all have close family. If we have our family, if we're close to our family or not, we all have close friends or coworkers, whatever the case would be. But we've all lied before, right? And that's what I like about the show, is just showing you the little lies, as someone had mentioned a little bit earlier about the small lies become big lies, and it just becomes natural. So, but no, that's a good point. They do lie a lot for a family with no secrets. Excuse me. No joke, Jacob would be wearing a GoPro at all times. Most definitely, for sure. When he was on that vacation, he wouldn't have left my sight. And this is a powerful scene here too, guys. We're about to witness the decision that Lori made to do what she did. And let me catch up to you guys' comments. I'm like super behind, but I want to make sure I answer you guys' comments and read them out loud and give you guys some good stuff. So, because I appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you want, you don't have to. We got donations on the channel for super chats are open, and also the streamlabs.com/moviefiles. But again, for you guys that are at home, we're 51, almost 52 minutes into the episode, where the biggest moment of the episode, in my opinion, happens with this moment that Lori decides to do and her decision. But True Love says the way Neil looked at Lori during the trial had me thinking that there was something between them before. After episode 8, I think that it was a hint that Neil will be going after next. It's a great point. It's a very great point, True Love. Very great point. Very, very great. Kelly Ann says, before we find out what happened to Hope, I thought Jacob did it, something to her. I mean, he acted so weird. Was at the hotel. I loved the show, but things I wanted in. Yeah, he was definitely acting weird. I thought that he definitely did something to her when he came back from the hotel. If Jacob did it, where's his clothes with blood on it? Well, again, James, I think that they said based on the blood splatter, that the way that the stabbing happened, if I'm not mistaken, in episode 7, the forensics lady said that, it could have been that the way that the person was stabbed, that it wouldn't have splattered on them, on their clothes or what have you. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. And why was the knife clean? yeah, I think that the knife was the knife that Andy threw away, the evidence. And plus, with it being clean, they had said that Jacob had washed the blood off in the water or whatever. This is a big moment here, guys. And she's just telling him everything as Andy's is blowing up her phone. Literally, when I was third time watching this episode, I'm still getting chills at this moment, because obviously, you if you didn't know what was going on in the show, let's just say for whatever reason you're watching this for the first time, you're looking at a son being frightened of his mother right now, right? And then obviously you're looking at a mother that's just broken and can't live with the idea that her son's a murderer. So much so that she wants to kill herself, and her son. She wants the truth. I mean, he said it. There you go, James. He said he did it. Obviously, he did that in the midst of being scared for his life. I got an unsettling feeling about Lori once they got back from the trip. The same feeling I get watching a horror film and the mother goes possessed at that point. Very great point. Very great point. And here it is here, guys. She pulls the car over and bam. God damn. Very, very, very powerful scene. Very emotional scene. I'm not gonna lie. I keep it honest with you guys. I got a little teary-eyed when that happened. Very emotional for me, because it's just like, again, this is so invested in the show and these characters and these actors are fantastic. And this was just very tragic in the way that they panned the camera over and showed the blood and the rain. Sad, sad, sad. He said he washed in the lake in the story. Yeah. I think Lori had given up and basically lost it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a perfect child, but I would never want to kill someone. That's for sure. Hey, what's going on, Mo? Glad you was able to stop by. How you doing tonight? Kellyanne, I think Andy didn't want to face the truth about Jacob because of his dad. That's what I totally agree with you, Kelly. We need a season 2. Did Jacob die? Does Lori tell the cops this new information? What really happened? So again, if you look at my video that I did for the book versus the show, the creator of the show, the writer of the show, said that his vision of the ending Jacob didn't die, he survived, but he has to live with the idea that his mom tried to kill him. So he does survive, and then Lori doesn't tell the cops because Lori, as we saw in this episode, I don't know how much memory she lost, but she clearly lost enough memory where she doesn't remember her trying to kill her son, and she says she wants her family back. So I assume that she forgot that Andy told her about Pat's death. So I think that she lost quite a few things and she just wants her family back. So I think, again, I don't know how much memory she lost, but I think this is Lori finding out about Pat's, and maybe even finding out about Hope missing, because again, she just says, I just want my family back. So, and she was in a hospital for 6 weeks. So maybe she just didn't remember, up to the vacation. And she's in the same mindset of when that her son is free and then didn't do the murder. So I think that's where Lori's mindset is. So I don't think she goes to the cops. And then again, I'm just basing it off of what the writer said in his Variety interview. It seemed too dark, that joke Jacob wrote when they were reading it. I was surprised about that. Yeah, very, very surprised. I think Neil just wanted to do his best and was jealous of Andy. Yeah, in regards to the relationship, yeah, I think that's true as well. Yes, the line between Andy and Billy was great. That scene with Ben and his mom got me. Yeah, I think the future Andy becomes alcoholic, and I think Lori still loves Andy. Yep, especially that last shot of the episode. Carson had me surprised. I knew Lori would snap. Do you think Lori was trying to kill Jacob? Yeah, so Lori, Kellyanne, going back to that video, which again, little plug, check out that video. But in the book, just to kind of, for those that haven't read the book, spoilers, I guess you could say. But in the book, everything plays out the same. Lori drives a car into a wall, but Jacob dies in the book. Obviously, in the show, he's in a coma. And again, based on that comment in the interview that the writer said in Variety, Jacob does survive. He's going to wake up from the coma, but he's going to wake up to the idea that his mom tried to murder him. Kind of role reversal where Lori thought that her son was a murderer. Now that Lori tried to kill her son, and if assuming that, I assume from those comments that Jacob doesn't lose his memory, he remembers what his mom tried to do, so he has to live with the fact that his mom's a murderer. So yes, Lori did try to kill Jacob, but in the book she was successful at doing that, and in the show she wasn't. But this was a very powerful scene too. This whole time we're thinking that, Annie's on trial for Jacob. He is, but not for the way that we thought. He's on trial because his wife is being accused of murdering her own son, which I thought was a nice twist as well. As I said, if Lori listened to Jacob, he would not have to say he did it. Yeah, he knows he didn't. I love James Tucker. He is sticking by his guns, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. He is in the camp that, as Neil just said, justice for Jacob. Jacob is innocent, and I love it. What's going on? Definitely trying to kill Jacob. Yeah. Like I said, just from those comments that I read from the that Variety report or interview, and you're driving 90 miles an hour or however fast she was going and driving to a concrete wall. Possibilities of you living are pretty low, So yeah, she was definitely trying to kill her or kill him and herself. So like I said, in the book, Jacob died, and in the show, he's in a coma, fighting for his life. But I think even in the show, even again, we didn't see it, but even in the show, I think that even Lori's saying to Andy, the doctor seemed optimistic. I saw him today, so I think even the show is saying that he's gonna probably live. But then, like I said, the writer said that he does live, but he has to live with the fact that his mom tried to take him out. So again, just to kind of let you guys know, for those watching the replay, for those watching that just popped in now, just so you can kind of know where we're at in the show. We're wrapping the show up. It's about to end. We got like another 5 minutes, but just as we're right at that hour mark. James said, trying to score him into truth is a bit. Yeah, she's a distraught mom, and she was definitely trying to scare the truth out of him. And I think she did so, right? I mean, he did say it. He did do it. Obviously, he said it in a matter of like his life is on the line. But no, I think that, like I said, even before that accident happened, I think the proof was in the pudding, in my opinion, James. But I love it, James. I love that you're sticking by Jacob. You're defending Jacob, my friend. Love it. Kellyanne, before we found Andy, was on trial for Lori. I thought it was involved with Jacob, like Jacob gets accused of something else. Yeah, again, I like that twist a lot, that this whole season we thought that was, involving Jacob, which it was, but not to what we thought. It was, Lori killing her son, or attempting to, successfully in the book, but not in the show. So as we see here, guys, like I mentioned, Lori, she doesn't remember anything. When I have initially reviewed this, I was just like, why is she playing stupid? Is she Andy now? Is she lying? She doesn't remember, but the show says it, and also the writer said she lost her memory. Now, as far back, I don't know. I would assume, because based on what she's saying, that this was probably her mindset before Mexico, before they went to that family trip, because she doesn't bring up Hope and the allegations and the conversation she had with Andy. She obviously doesn't remember the car accident. So I think this is Lori's mindset before going to their trip. And like right now, she says, see him today. I read to him. The doctor seemed pretty optimistic. So this is again the show saying that he lived. And like I said, per the writer of the show creator, he says that, Jacob does live from that car accident, but he has to live with something that is going to change his life forever, which is his mom trying to kill him. And then another powerful moment here. She's saying when he wakes up and Andy looks at her right in the eyes, he won't. And again, when Captain America's looking at you in your eyes and he says what he says, you got to believe him, because it's Cap, He's not, it's just an accident. Again, looking at Andy in his situation, he'll do, and she says, I just want my family back. That's where my point was going to go. He wants He can't stomach the idea that not only was his son a murderer, his wife's a murderer in a sense, an unsuccessful one, but attempted to kill her son. So Andy's living in a house with, let's just say, two murderers. I think, again, for the 20th time, Andy Jacobs the murderer, but he can't just live with the fact that he's living in the house with these murderers, but at the same time, he's just gonna lie. He's lying to Lori about what she did because he wants his family. He didn't have his family growing up. His dad, I mean, it seemed like him and his mom had a good relationship. We obviously didn't see it, but I assume she raised a smart, intelligent man to become a DA and a lawyer and have his own family. So I believe the morals and the foundation was there. And I believe, I just assume him and his mom had a great relationship, but obviously he didn't have his dad relationship. So he doesn't want a broken family like the family he grew up in. So he is willing to lie, willing to, deflect anything that proves that his family is broken, prove that his son is innocent, prove that his wife is innocent. He's willing to do everything to keep his family together. And this is a great shot. Someone had mentioned it in the comments. This final shot of Andy sitting on the bed is very reminiscent and very similar to the shot of the bed when we saw Ben's dad sitting on the edge of his bed at his son's funeral. Again, even another correlation is, seeing, that moment there and Lori going to Ben's house and seeing the mom. And then obviously the same goes with Jacob or Andy seeing, Ben's dad on the bed is like, parallel stories. Like both of these families were affected by this. And then someone had mentioned they think that Andy's going to probably be an alcoholic. So yeah, happy ending, right? Everyone lives happily ever after. But no, great way to end the show. Again, I know you guys is fire your comments in the comments, guys. I'm gonna probably stay on here for another 15 and 30 minutes, give or take, depending on you guys' comments and all that stuff. And I have a couple questions I want to ask to you guys, but let me know, number one, your thoughts on the show. Did you like the show? Did you hate the show? Do you want a season 2? Do you want more from this story? Let me know that. Again, let's have some more discussions about Jacob being guilty, Ben being guilty, or Pat's being guilty of someone else entirely. Just drop your comments below and let's have some fun discussions. But kind of, in that vein, just like I said, with your overall thoughts, one of the first questions I have for you guys is, did Pats kill Ben? And if you think he did, let me know why. If you don't, this is my reasons why I don't. I don't think he killed Pats or Ben. Yes, he had the picture in his phone. Yes, there's evidence that he is a pedophile. That he's interested in younger kids. But there's no evidence in regards to him being a murderer, right? But again, I know that picture on his phone is very telling. But there's outside of that, and obviously the moment where he's has to make up this forced confession. Some people say that those tears were not tears of fear; it was tears of truth. That he's finally telling the truth. But I don't think Pat killed Ben, guys. I personally don't think he did it. But again, if you guys do, let me know your reasons why, and we can discuss it. Where was I at? Pull up some comments here. Can't remember where I left off. Behavior at the hotel. Like he said, he was in prison in his own mind. That's his karma. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't go to that point. He doesn't go to a physical place in prison, but who's to say what's worse, living with that thought your whole life and not having a regular life and know that you took someone's life, or being somewhere physically where you get to live your days out with that, but you were found guilty. Andy alone, enough. They die in the hospital. No, I just don't think that I think that scene was just him literally leaving the hospital, so they're still recuperating and everything like that. I think Andy didn't want his family to be like his family. Exactly. That's what I was saying, Kellyanne, that he doesn't want his family that he grew up with to be broken. So who's willing to do literally whatever it takes, as Cap would say, in Avengers Endgame, do whatever it takes to protect his family, whether that's lying for Jacob, whether that's lying for Lori. And yeah. Definitely agree with you, Kellyanne. But yeah, going back to the rest of your comments, his dad is a murderer, and I think Jacob did. Now Lori. So yeah, really, really messed up. Adrian says James Tucker. Another thing proving Jacob was innocent is when he was found by the police. He said he turned the body over. At this point, he didn't know about the fingerprint on the collar. Again, playing devil's advocate in regards to Jacob and his smart IQ. Of course he would say that, right? That he found the body versus obviously committing the crime, but also as going to a character. The actor was great, but I didn't like the character. Going to the character Neil, he even said it. He knows what to say. His dad is a DA. His dad he can listen into these conversations. Oh, how was court today, Dad? Oh, blah blah blah. It's all confidential, but obviously, some things might slip out. But I think and also, as someone had mentioned in the comments earlier, what else did Jacob take off his laptop? Was it, he's on this Cutter website. Maybe he's on some websites of how to get away with murder, how to, make it seem that you're innocent. That's another telling thing. And someone had mentioned it in this chat. What else did he wipe off his laptop? Again, guys, I know we want to Jacob. Jaden Martell's a great actor, and we don't want to think that this little boy was innocent. But I think there's a lot of proof in the pudding, guys. Like I said, what else was on that laptop that he took off, that he wiped clean off his computer? We'll never know. I'm still confused on the ending. In what in particular, James? Let me know, man. Let's break it down. Let's discuss it. Let's dissect it. Let's analyze it. Let's talk about it, man. Killian says, excuse me, I don't think I want a season 2 to be out. Yeah, I don't personally. Again, that's a nice creative challenge, but I don't think that we need a season 2. But if they may want to, you better believe I'm going to watch it. But I don't want one. I think the show was so good, things just sit at with Jacob's story. I don't think Pat didn't do it. I think there is enough. Yeah, there isn't enough evidence. Yeah, I agree with you, Kelly. Kelly, man, shout out to Kelly. She's been on the team. Jacob did it all night going against my friend James Tucker here. Which again, James, I appreciate your insight, my friend, and your rebuttal and everything of that nature. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. This means so much to me when you guys take the time out of your day to not only watch my content, but put your own money into this channel, because that's where it's going, guys. Whenever you donate to this channel, it goes to the channel. So equipment, editing software, all that stuff is stuff that I want to save up to get to better produce this show. So thank you so much for the donation. If you guys want to, you don't have to. I do have super chats. I have streamlabs.com/moviefiles, but the best donation you could do for this channel is give this video a thumbs up. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it, but thank you so much for that donation. Thanks, Elliot. Keep the great work. I will. We don't have this show to watch anymore, but that doesn't mean this channel stops, right? I still review, like tonight. After the stream at 6:21 at 8 o'clock, we'll be watching episode 4 of I Know This Much Is True, which is the new Mark Ruffalo show, which is really, really well done. It's a show about mental health. It is not an easy watch. It's very depressing, very heavy stuff, but really well acted. And I'm an advocate about more shows and conversations about mental health. I think the show is doing a really good job of displaying that. So I'll be reviewing that. And then tomorrow I'll be shooting my movie and TV bucket list, which is pretty much, if you guys aren't familiar with that segment, it's where I pretty much break down all the new releases coming to streaming platforms, normally for theaters, but obviously we don't have the theaters right now. But I'm going to be going over every month. I go over what I'm going to be watching, what you should be watching, what show should I be watching, what movie should I be watching. So it's a really cool video that I do every month. So I'll be doing that. And then of course, whenever we got Shirley's coming out on Hulu this week, so I'll be reviewing that. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm one of those OCD people, which if I want to watch a show, I got to finish it. So with that being said, I'll be watching and reviewing the 4th season of 13 Reasons Why this Friday. And then I'm going to be having my watch along, which I'm going to be announcing. Well, it's on my channel now, but I'm going to start promoting it tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my next TV or movie watch along for Hereditary, which is a film that really gets under my skin. So I'm going to be having a panel of horror experts on the show next Saturday to watch Hereditary. So those are some things that you guys can look forward to in regards to, even though the show is ending, I'm still going to be here for reviewing and communicating with you all, interacting with you all, having a great time. Who is the real killer? Is anyone charged? Yeah. So again, Jacob, in my opinion, is the killer. Is anyone charged? No. Like Kellyanne said, or someone else has, I'm sorry, not Kellyanne, someone has said earlier in the comment, his prison is in his mind, living with the truth that he murdered someone and not physically going to jail and being charged. So to that second part, no one is charged because they think Pass did it, which he didn't, but he's the one that was found guilty. Is anyone charged with murder? I mean, yeah, like I said, Pat's, his confession in the show said that he murdered Ben, but obviously I don't think that was to be true. Kellyanne, sometimes with TV shows, I don't like how they handle mental health. Yeah, no, that's true, Kellyanne. That is very true. I think a lot of shows don't handle it well, don't show the other side of it, which is someone had mentioned to me in the comments. Like I said, I really like, I know this much is true, but it's very heavy. It's very depressing. It shows you the bad side of mental health, right? It doesn't show you someone, handling mental health and how they, the good side of it, them being a happy person, them having great moments, things of that nature. So yeah, some shows don't handle it well, but I know this much true. I don't know if you get a chance to watch that, Kellyanne, but I recommend it. But I'm always interested in seeing how shows tackle that issue because it's an issue that needs to be tackled. It needs to be brought up because the lack of information out there and seriousness of mental health isn't where it should be. So I always, like I said, always give a show a shot that talks about those things. And I think this show does a really good job at it, in my opinion. Some people don't. And that's the beauty of shows and movies, is everyone has their own opinion. Kellyanne says, I'm going to be watching 13 Reasons Why. Andy seemed so defeated at the end. Jacob website was so dark. Why would he be on that site? About, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Kelly. Like, why, again, the kids are kids, right? They do some stupid stuff. But again, I think that the writers are telling us, man, there was that side of Jacob that's dark and sinister, and the side of a killer, that's who goes on those sites, killers. But yeah, no, 13 Reasons Why. I'm going to, again, I reviewed the last season on this channel, guys, and I wasn't a fan of 13 Reasons Why season 3. I thought that the whole Bryce narrative and how they presented him, I wasn't a fan of. But like I said, I've watched three seasons of this. I might as well finish it out. So I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, go into it with with the taking my baggage off of what I thought about season 3, and just go into it open minded. So I'll be watching it this Friday and reviewing it. But yeah, to your other comment, yeah, Jacob, Andy definitely looks defeated, and yeah, why would you be on that website? Like, come on, man. I've been following your channel since The Outsider. Stay awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support, and that was we got some really good shows. Again, it's unfortunate the lack of movies that we've gotten so far, and everything's being pushed back, and TBD or TBD. But we got some really good shows this year so far. Outsider on HBO being one of them. Devs on FX, Ozark season 3. And some other, this show, in my opinion, is a fantastic show. So we've gotten some really great stuff. So I really appreciate the support. Thank you for being with me since those days of watching Outsider. Many more things to come. Like I said, many more shows are going to be hitting streaming platforms. We got HBO Max, which I reviewed their original show with Anna Kendrick. We're going to be getting movies, obviously, on streaming. Excuse me. And hopefully in the next couple months, we get some news that the theaters will be opening and what the proper safety precautions. But yeah, many more things to come. But I appreciate the support, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight for the live stream, for this watch along. I had such a great time with you guys and interacting with you all and talking about some big moments in the show. I feel so sorry for Lori, just completely dead inside. Yeah, well, not anymore, right? Because she has she forgot everything, right? So she's I don't want to say new and improved, but she is the Lori, the happy Lori, I guess. And again, she just wants her family back. So again, I don't know how far back her memory loss was. Maybe it was even before. I don't even know. I don't know how much memory she lost, but I don't think she's dead inside, because she seems like a new person with this memory loss, which is sad to know that, where she was mentally. But I thought Lori, and again, I talked about it in my review, the performances by Michelle Dockery and Chris Evans and Jaden Martell was fantastic. I didn't feel like Lori or Andy were ever truly in love. with each other, even before Jacob was suspecting the rest. Yeah, I think even that scene in the kitchen, right? It seemed like there was some tension there, and Andy had said that this whole relationship was built off of a lie. And even Lori and Andy said it when they were, they met the psychologist for the first time. They were talking about, oh, we fell in love in college and we had a kid so quickly. Things were kind of rushed. The family might have been rushed, and they really didn't get a chance to kind of know each other, right? Obviously, Jacob or Andy didn't feel comfortable enough. He didn't tell anyone, but you would think he would tell his wife about his upbringing. He didn't do that. So yeah, there is. I wouldn't say they maybe didn't truly love each other, but there was something missing there that they didn't. Neither one of them felt comfortable enough to tell each other the truth, right? Andy holding things from her and vice versa. Thanks, Elliot. You're awesome. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate it. You're awesome. You all are awesome. Again, thank you all tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to this awesome watch along. And again, things coming this week. My movie and TV bucket list for the month of June. My most recent review that I'm going to be shooting tonight after the show premieres. I Know This Much Is True, episode 4. The season 4 review for 13 Reasons Why. Shirley on Hulu with Elizabeth Moss. And then I'm having a watch along for Hereditary next Saturday with a panel of horror experts. On the other hand, I'm 100% set on Jacob being innocent, and I love that, James. James, I appreciate you sticking on all the way through, and everyone that came in the chat. But James, I love it. You stuck to your guns. I love it, man. I thank you so much for tuning in and defending Jacob, my friend. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. But you know what, guys? I think we are gonna, you know what? I had like a question. Do we want a season 2? I know a lot of you guys have brought it up that some of you guys want a season 2, want to explore certain avenues, want to explore certain storylines, maybe see, what life looks like after the fact. I don't think we're going to get a season 2. I personally wouldn't want a season 2. If there was announced that it was going to do one, I'm all game, which is, if you guys have been following Apple TV content, mostly all their shows are being greenlit for season 2, minus like, I don't know if, that one show, Truth Be Told, I don't know if that's going to be renewed for season 2. I did not like that show, at least the first 3 episodes. The show about space, I don't know if that's going to be renewed, but I do know Dickinson, Servant, The Morning Show, all those shows were greenlit for a season 2. But I don't think this show will be renewed, nor do I want it to be renewed. But I'm telling you, if they do renew it, I'm going to watch it. But it would be really interesting to see what they do. But I'm okay with it ending the way it did. And plus, I don't even think they had a follow-up to the book either. Which doesn't mean anything. Obviously, there could be some creative liberties that the creators can take, but I don't want a season 2, if I'm being honest. Super Sticker, thank you so much for the donation. Again, guys, you guys don't have to donate. The best thing you can do for this channel is continue to support it by watching these videos, commenting, liking them, sharing them, subscribing to the channel. But when you guys take that extra step to support the channel by donating like she's doing right now, that means so much to me. Thank you so much for the donation. Again, that donation goes right to this channel, software, editing software, new equipment, different setups, things of that nature. So thank you so much for the super chat or super sticker. Thank you from the top, bottom, side, all in my heart. Thank you so much for that support. That really means a lot to me. And I appreciate you coming in tonight and commenting and having some great conversations and, being with me for this whole duration. So thank you so much again for the super chat, the super sticker, for the incredible engagement on this video. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I really, really, really appreciate it. James says yes. There's unanswered questions. Yeah, I mean, name one thing in shows that we all love and like, movies that answer every single thing that was posed to us, right? Again, I think a lot of those supporting characters were misdirecting us, and there are some unanswered questions in regards to, obviously, we don't see it, but the writer says that Jacob lives. We could have saw that Jacob lives. We could have saw the actual killing. But for me, it's just like, I like when shows, again, give you some room for our imagination to make up, to really make you think about certain things. So, but no, again, there are some unanswered questions, but I'm okay with some of those questions not being answered. We don't need a season 2. Yeah, I agree with you. Excuse me. Totally agree with you. James says, how does Jacob cope with everything, let alone the Brookins? I mean, kind of in the reality of, our day-to-day lives. How do murderers that got away with murder, how do they cope with life after the fact? How do the parents that lost a kid due to, certain things? It's just certain, not every show is going to give you every single thing. Because if that was the case, watching life with the Ripkins. Are we going to have 14 seasons of them, 2 years later, 3 years later, having, all that stuff? But again, what I love about what you're saying, James, is that shows to me that you really were invested with this show, which is kudos to the show that you want more, right? If this was the opposite, if you hated the show, you'd be like, I'm done with this. I don't care who killed them. This show is trash. But this just goes to show the impact of the show and how well it was, how well you took it in. So that's great, man. And I love the show. I'm right there with you, James. Oh, this is an interesting question. Would this story be better as a movie? Curious to know your thoughts. If it was a movie, I mean, how would that look? That would be either a really, really, really long movie or not enough stuff to pack in, like the character development, the suspense, the mystery, the misdirect. I don't know if it would have worked as a movie. I really like that it was a show. And I'm actually, as you all know, I review a lot of TV shows. I'm always on the camp of when I review some things, I'd be like, man, this would have been, it didn't work as a movie, but man, that's would have been fascinating as a show because you would have gotten more time to spend with this character, that storyline, that arc. So I actually like that it's a show versus a movie. But I would be really, really intrigued if someone were to adapt this as a film and see how they would handle all these storylines and see what things they would change from the book. Because again, from the book, watch the video I made earlier, but really some big things. Jacob does die in the book, and Hope dies in the book. So there's some really big differences. So do the Ripkins object to the trial? I mean, again, James, you know what you're saying, my friend. I think you need to call up Apple TV. You need to call up the creators and say, hey, man, you need to make a season 2. And the reason you need to make a season 2 is bow. Give them all that list. You get in that writing room, my friend, and you get season 2. Justice for Jacob. Hashtag Justice for Jacob. I need you to make a season 2, man. And even if they don't do it, I need you to make a short film or maybe a follow-up show or animated show and give us those answers, my friend. But no, I appreciate the passion, man, and wanting to know more from the story. Again, that just shows that you really enjoyed it like I did. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. I'm going to get ready for dinner before I know As Much As True comes on HBO, which if you guys haven't been checking it out, it's a really good show in my opinion. It's not a fun, happy-go-lucky show, but it's a show that tackles mental health and how it affects the family and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend that show. So I'm going to give that a watch. But again, guys, for everyone that stopped by tonight, thank you so much for all the donations, for all the comments, for all the interactions, for all the hearts, the thumbs up, for being here tonight. I can't thank you guys enough. Again, if you're not already, make sure you check my community tab because my community tab tells you what's to come for the week. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you know what content I got coming for the week. I will be on some other content creators channels this week. I'm going to be doing a watch along for Toy Story 3, or not Toy Story 3, a watch along for, or a discussion about Space Force. I'm going to be on a panel talking about the everything that's going on right now in America with the social injustice system and all that stuff. I'm going to be on that, talking about that a couple times this week on a couple different channels. So talking about that, and of course talking about the things that gets our minds off of stuff and the stuff that's going on in this world right now. So keep an eye out for that content. Thank you guys again for stopping by tonight. I hope you all are staying safe. I hope you all are doing okay. It's a lot easier to love than to hate. So show some love to someone. Call your family, call your friends, let them know, see how they're doing. And like I said, it's a lot easier to love people than it is to hate. So again, thank you all for watching this live stream. I hope you guys are doing good. And one more comment before we head out for the night. I like the show, but it wasn't my absolute favorite. I will give it a B. Hey, a B is better than C, right? No, but I appreciate the comment again. Thank you guys. Have a good night. See you soon, and we'll be talking soon, guys. Take care.